Hello, and welcome to the Engage Bootcamp training series. My name is Courtney Lakaitis. I'm the program manager to student organizations in the Office for Student Involvement and Leadership. And today I'm going to show you how to submit an event on Engage for your campus department profile. The first thing you'll want to do is log on to Engage by going to write.edu/engage and using your W number credentials to log in. Once you've done that, you will come here to the home screen, and the first thing you'll do is go ahead and click on the hamburger menu in the upper left-hand corner. This menu will open up to give you access to the entire platform, which you'll see here through these menu options at the top. But then the positions that you have and the organizations that you're a part of will show up down here. So they'll look a little bit different based off of what you're involved in. For today's video, I'm going to submit an event for student involvement and leadership, and I'll use the gear icon to get started. If you do not see the gear icon, send me an email and I can help you out. So by clicking there, you'll see the organization tools menu that pops out, and you're going to click on the events option. Now, because I have started several event submissions and I do not complete them because they're all tests, you will see this lovely little banner up here at the top, which may be a blessing or a curse later on in the experience as you submit more events. So for the purpose of today, we're just going to ignore that and I'm going to pretend that it doesn't exist. So you will see here on this home page of events all of the approved event submissions. So when you click on the Create Event button, what you're actually doing is submitting a form on Engage under the event submission process. That form is then generated once approved into an actual event. So you'll see here that anything that is put on your events page is something that I've personally approved. And the reason that I approve it is because I approve all events for the student organizations. And so I also approve the event submission process for campus departments just to keep the consistency of the process. You also will be able to see here on the left-hand side that you can search for different events that you have. You can select different themes, see if things have been canceled or approved, if there's an online location. There's a lot of different ways that you can search for events or like categorize and filter out your events if you need to look for something later on. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to click Create Event. And you will be brought to the first page of the form. Go ahead and fill in the red asterisk fields. Those are what is required. I'm going to mute my computer for a second because I'm going to type some things out and my typing is excessively loud and I don't want you to listen to that. So I will be right back. Okay, so you can see that I put in some information here. Remember that your description is not like need to text Jason Bickford about attendance for event or meeting or, fun with SIL. Like that's not what it is. This is your opportunity to entice people to come out to your event. So who are they going to be seeing? What are they going to be doing? Are they going to be eating things? Is there music? Is there fun? And if there isn't, make it up and make it happen. So you can put in whatever information you would like to. If there are additional links that you want to include, you of course can provide that by inserting or editing a link. And you can just have whatever fun you want with the description there. The other thing that I will mention is the theme that is this list of categories. You are required by Engage to select at least to select one of them. These themes are created and decided on by Anthology. They cannot be changed. So I would just do your best to select whatever theme you want to go with. and we can get more specific later down on the page. The next thing I want to indicate to you is the co-host. So if let's say that we are, I'm sorry if my typing's loud. Let's say that we are going to co-host with the Division of Student Affairs. I'm going to add them as a co-host. When the event is approved on Engage, this event will show up on the calendar for the Division of Student Affairs. It physically looks different, like there's a dotted line around it and it's a little bit faded, just to show that it's not your event, but you're included on it. So if you're ever partnering with other campus departments, you can search for any campus department or student organization that is listed on there, and you're not restricted to a certain amount of them. So if you're going to be coordinating an event with all of the organizations of the engineering department, and there are 10 engineering department organizations, you can list all 10 of them. That's not a problem there. So that's a really cool way to show your collaboration. The next piece here is the most important piece, because this is your opportunity to work smarter, not to work harder. You will note here that there is the date, time, and place. So you can go ahead and select, let's say that we're going to do this next Monday, and this event of having fun is going to be from 1 to 2:30. And we are going to have it in Apollo. Okay? So, if you are having a reoccurring meeting, event, gathering, whatever it might be, please select add another date. Okay? This duplicates what you just submitted here at the top, but it also allows you to change up your own event. So, in the example of the in-person Engage Bootcamp trainings, I submitted one form for all 10 sessions because I just went in and changed the times and said that this one was from 1:30 to 2:30. And maybe the location's the same, but the dates are going to change. And this one is going to be the 5th from, from 3 to 4, whatever it might be. You can select up to 18 additional dates here. So if you do the math, that is 1 day a week if you are having reoccurring meetings or events on Mondays. So in the example that you are having, let's say that you're having a training for your math students. We're just going to make an example. Let's say that there is trainings on, like there's tutoring trainings or, whatever it might mean on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can submit one event for all Tuesday dates and the times and the locations, whatever that information might be. And then you will submit another form for all Thursday date, times, and locations. So that whenever you're done and you've submitted 2 forms, you've really submitted 30 events because there's one each week for the entire semester. So that is the best way to work smarter and not work harder. Trust me, it is a gem. The only problem is that, again, whenever the form is approved, the events become individual events that you can then edit, cancel, track attendance, all that sort of thing, and we'll go into that a little bit later. The only problem is that you can't bulk change detail request, and I'll show you what that means a little bit later on. But just know that it is a beautiful process at the front whenever you're trying to put all this information in. But it can be a pain in the neck later on whenever you're trying to bulk edit some things if you need to do that. So once you've selected your date, time, and locations, you'll move on down to event visibility. The event visibility shows you 4 different options. So you have the public, students and staff at Engage, members of all hosting organizations, which then would also include your co-hosting organizations, and invited users only. The public is the only permission on this form that sends the event from Engage to the university calendar. So if you want to double dip your information, but you don't want to do double the work, start with Engage, put your event as public, and it will get sent to the university calendar. Now, in the chance that this is not, you don't want it to be as a part of the university calendar. Maybe it's just for your organization because you're doing just something for SIL. So let's say that we're having like a Halloween potluck just for our office. We're only going to put it as members of all hosting organizations. Okay. And then if you just don't want the event or don't need the event to be on the university calendar, you can just select students and staff at Engage. And then lastly, your invited users only. This gives you the option to literally invite people through the RSVP section. And you can select specific emails to send it to that are on the roster. So our example that we use all the time is if a student organization has a judicial process to go through, they can create their event on Engage to reserve the space, and then they can invite the members who are applicable to that judicial process to attend that event and to know that, like, the date, time, and location for it. There are a couple other little indicators here. Allow attendance at this event to be shown in the co-curricular transcript. The co-curricular transcript is something that Engage captures information. So it's typically based off of your path, your path progress and what you complete in the path programs. Your rosters and like the positions that you hold within those offices and within those student organizations, and it can also be helpful to the events that you're hosting. In the example that we are holding a campus-wide alternative spring break trip, or maybe we're doing a campus-wide community event day, I would argue that this is important for the co-curricular transcript that attendance to be allowed to show up on there, because it is impactful to the development of our student and to their overall Wright State experience. But I would argue on the other end that if we're hosting an event for a Halloween potluck, that we don't need to put the attendance as allowing to show up on their co-curricular transcript, because it doesn't really need to be on there. Like, your co-curricular transcript is basically like your ongoing resume with Engage based off of your involvement. So just be thoughtful of that. The other thing too is that if you click allow anyone to self-report the attendance, this does mean that they get to say that they were at the event even if they weren't. So I would use caution with this and having information provided about how to collect the attendance. The event categories is something that is specific to our campus. So the themes at the top of the page was something that is determined by Engage and by Anthology. However, the event categories at the bottom of the page is something that we get to decide. This list was updated last semester at the beginning of the spring semester, and it is not a required field, and so it gets missed a lot of the times. If you're looking at this list and you're like, my stuff is not on there, like this does not adequately describe what I do in our division or in our office, or like, hey, maybe you're missing something, maybe we need to take academic and educational and kind of split them up, we can make that decision later on, and you are more than welcome to email me. This was a list of things that I thought was important, and if I missed something, please let me know, and I'm happy to add that information for you. You also can select as many categories as you want. So if we're doing this test event and it's alumni and it's homecoming and it's recreational and it's social, it's those four. When students are searching for these types of category events on the events page, this event will show up for them once it's approved. Okay? All right, and then perks, we have free food, free stuff, and credit. If you want to select any of those things, feel free to do so. It, again, will just show up on the event once it's approved as a general perk, and they can also search for the perks. Moving on to the next page, this is your RSVP. So this allows anyone to say yes or no, I am not coming to your event. And you can do that by selecting one of the three options, where anyone on Engage can RSVP to the event. Only invitees can accept the RSVP or say yes or no, I'm coming or not, and then no one. If you do select no one, all of the rest of the information on that page disappears because it's not applicable. If you are doing invite only, you can continue to have all this information provided, very much like the anyone option. I will also say that if you are hosting an event that is open to the public, for an event like, let's say, the Arts Gala is going to be on Engage this year. People who do not have a W number cannot RSVP because you have to log on to Engage in order to RSVP. There's other options that we can look at for that if you would like to, but just know that it's not really like off-campus people not being able to RSVP is how Engage and Anthology kind of keeps the platform safe. So just be mindful of that as you're planning your events, and what it means to include the RSVPs or to not include them. So there's a number of different permissions and filters here that you can include. So if you want to have all members invited of this organization after event approval, you can automatically have them invited and they're ready to go for the event to know what's going on. One of my favorite things is to have a limit number of available RSVP spots. So if you have an event, let's say that you're going to do an off-campus trip to the movies and you only have 50 spots allowed, you can put the maximum number of 50 or RSVP spots is 50, and you can click the showing remaining RSVP spots to the public so that it will show you the countdown of how many spots are left on the event. If you also want to include guests, you can limit the number of guests per RSVP, and you can also use that count as against the general and the overall number. So if you want your students to be able to bring, a friend or a significant other or family member or anything like that, I highly recommend you utilizing some of these additional permissions for the event. And the next thing down here, if you want people to use an organization representative, if this is important to your specific event, in the example of like the all-campus community day or like an alternative spring break trip, you are obviously more than welcome to include this and you can show all of that information there. I don't have a lot of people who do that, but if it's something that you want to explore, rock on. Okay, so then we have the RSVP questions. The RSVP questions allows you to ask questions once they have clicked, yes, I am attending. So in the example that you're going to the movies, let's say that you need to ask the question of, and I'm going to type this out. Again, it's loud, so I'll just say the question I'm going to ask. Do you need transportation from the campus to the event? Do you need transportation from the university? Okay, then your options can say no or yes. Okay, if you need to make this question required, I would make it required. If you also need to add an additional description, you can do that. Most times I don't really see the reason to, but if there is something that is specific to your department or to your event or anything like that, go ahead and include that. So you can go ahead and continue to ask however many questions you want, and they are required to complete these questions in order to officially RSVP. So we're going to ask that question there, and then we're going to click next. So with a pre-event questions, you also get post-event feedback. So if you want to ask a series of questions based off of your event, because this is the first time that you're doing it, and let's say that you have gotten a sponsor and you've got some university funds and you just want to show like the purpose and the mission and the success of the event, I would highly, highly, highly recommend using the event feedback. One thing that you can see here is going to be this beautiful little button. Click it because it is automatically going to send anybody who has checked into your event, it is automatically going to send them a post-event feedback evaluation. It is an email that comes from Engage. So if students are like, hey, I didn't get an email from you, Courtney Lakaitis, it's not coming from me, it's going to come from Engage. So know that happens. You don't have to worry about it. Or if you want to send out the event feedback later at your own time, that is also totally fine. I'm sure that there's a way to do it. I've just never had to do it. So anyways, very similar to the pre-questions. These are the same kind of questions that they ask post. So I'm going to ask the question of, what did you learn at this event? you will see that it is a multi-line, which allows them to write several sentences, and the answer will just continue to move down into the page. And we want this question to be required. Maybe we ask them another question and say, did you have fun? With a yes or no answer. And we don't want this to be required because we know that they had fun and they just don't want to admit it. So you can use, whatever permissions and filters here that you see fit. And then whenever you're done with those questions, you'll just go ahead and click next. The last page here is going to be your profile picture. I highly recommend that you include a profile picture, even if it's just your logo or if it's a quick thing that you made up on Canva, because if you don't, Engage, they provide a photo for you and it doesn't always match. When they first started doing this a year and a half ago, the pictures didn't always align with the event title. So I saw one time there was a student organization meeting and it was a picture of a soccer ball. And those are two very different things. So I recommend you providing your own profile picture. And if you are using something like Canva, you have the dimensions right here for the pixels to make your own profile or your own profile picture for it to fit within this area, and it can be cropped. And if you don't have a profile picture and you want to insert one later, you can just skip it for right now. So then you will move on to the rest of the form. So the questions that you just went over and that you just completed, those are part of the form that Engage provides. And then these are the questions that our department and our university can provide that is specific to the organizations. There are several pages within this, but I'm going to make your life easy because you're a campus department. You're just going to click department or office, and you'll click next. It's going to ask you a couple questions. This is me just being, I'm going to be very honest, I'm just being nosy. So if you've already scheduled this space, or if you don't need to schedule this space because it's within your own department and it's space that's controlled by you, or you've already worked with residence life and housing or event services or anything like that, you can go ahead and just select which space. This just indicates to me that you don't need my assistance and I'm just double checking that you have it in the system. I don't care as much as it sounds like I care, but I just want to make sure that that if you do need help, or if you haven't reserved it with event services yet, that I can be a campus partner and provide you that information if need be. So you can go ahead and click whatever option there, and then your estimated attendance is going to be 45. And then these learning outcomes is something that came along with the event form. I have absolutely no idea where they came from, and I don't know who is responsible for reporting on them, but they do exist. And so someday we'll do something fun with them, and you can go ahead and click whatever outcomes that they work with. So, and then you can click next from there. So because this is a test event, I'm not actually going to click approve or click submit, but what it will show you is it will show you the details, the cover photo, additional forms that were here, and then the date, time, and locations, so that you can make sure that everything is correct, and then you'll click submit from there. Okay? Great. So let's go back to an event that has already been added to the calendar. So you submitted your event, you got it approved on Engage, it's on the university website, you're ready to go. And let's say that you want to maybe make a change detail request for this. So let's say that for this Engage Bootcamp event, I'm going to change the title of the event. It's not going to be a question and answer. Instead, it's going to be about the roster again. So you will then open up your event from your approved event calendar, and you will click on this blue button here, Change Details. This will automatically open up the form for you the exact way that you submitted it. So you'll see here that I can go into the title and update roster. All information is staying the same. We're just going to keep clicking next and next and next. And when I get to the end, I'm going to complete the submission. And because I have overall campus access, mine always looks a little bit different. Yours will ask you a question of what did you change in your change detail request, and you can put in like changed event title, updated profile picture, added attendance, like whatever you changed, you can add that, and then I'll approve it again. It'll come back into the queue, and then once I approve it, it will be completely updated from there. Okay. All right. So this has been a really long training so far, and I want to be mindful of your time. So the tracking attendance piece is going to be a separate video, which I'll have on next. And so if you want to keep following along for information on how to track attendance, please do. But if not, thank you so much for your time and for your attention. I hope this was helpful for you planning events and sharing them with the campus community. It's going to be a great academic year. I'm very excited to see our events skyrocket on Engage and get our students acclimated to the campus and get them involved. So if you have any questions at all, please send me an email. And if not, we'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.